Hello, everyone. Is my screen sharing working?
Yep, I got it.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Let me bring out the project. Ratify. Just going to quickly add this PR to the agenda. Looks like I'm not signed in. We can just go through that. Yeah, let's get started. We have a few PRs, all created by Dependent Thought. So Jimmy is not here yet, but I'm thinking that we can do a batch validation before every release instead of manually validating each time Dependent Thought creates a PR. So I've started a MD file under the test directory, trying to capture like what sort of automated testing we have for each code path. So let me view this file. Akash, so I wonder, do we have a unit test coverage for Kubernetes secrets and Docker config?
Yeah, we do have, I wrote some unit tests for that, but I mean, it's pretty isolated, so maybe we should look into adding more. It's more like configuration-based tests than like full end-to-end scenario testing, so.
Sure, so maybe I can have another column that's like validation required pre-release, which sure. I guess most of these would be required. Or I can just add a note like, please run through the coverage matrix for anything that doesn't have end-to-end coverage.
Yep, yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, okay, cool. I will, if Jimmy joins later, I can let him know that we will just manually merge this, or I can leave a note in the PR later this week and just merge them. And this one, R's project, RC1 to RC2, is this not yet ready, Akash?
Yeah, we had discussed this a little bit last week too, but we're waiting on ORS to cut their RC2 version that supports it. Once they've done that, then we can bump ours. We can't be on two different specs for that. So that's just what we're waiting for. Yeah.
Sounds good. Can you just add a note to the PR?
Yes, yeah, I'll add it.
Status. Thank you.
Question kind of along those lines. So Oris has a distribution repo, and distribution I've used like the alpha 003 alpha like tag for that registry container. Is that the same thing? We should not use the RC1 from that until we move in Ratify, or does that not matter?
So for the ORS distribution, that's just you can use that to test the current Ratify changes. So I think that's actually what Jimmy was doing to test before ECR was ready with the support for the refers API. So you can use that RC1 version of the distribution, ORS distribution currently.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was using the 003 alpha. I just wanted to know if I was about to explode things, taking RC1 from there. So I'll try it.
Okay, cool.
Hi, Sajay. Yeah, you're on mute. It's okay. Okay, the next item I have, I just want to go through the board and figure out which item I should pick up next. So I believe, thanks for starting the beta release, David. And is this the right link?
Yes, it is actually. Yep. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I would go to the beta milestone.
Yeah. Question, which one is
so yeah, this is a good question. A good thing to bring up, I guess, especially while we have Sajay on the phone. So Sajay created that 1.0 alpha.2 milestone. I didn't want to necessarily delete it right now because I guess I just wanted to circle back and see if there's anything in particular, Sajay, that you feel like should be on, let's say, whatever the next release is, which I'm just saying the next release is 1.0 beta. Yeah. So I don't know if we could triage that now or later, and then kind of close out the milestone is kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, sure. I think we can. I think most of the releases the only thing that I wanted to make sure we did was align auras and ratify, which has all happened. So we're good.
Okay. Okay. So there's nothing necessarily. Do you want to click on that milestone just to double check and a quick pass and just see if there's anything there that out of those 8 issues that are like kind of you think pretty critical for a beta in your mind?
No, I think we can close all of them or move them out.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, closing is different for sure. I mean, closing the milestone and just, getting rid of that's easy. But if you want to close it, I don't want to be the one to do that without you, because many of those are your issues. But yeah, if you don't think they're needed anymore and you want to close them,
I believe that we can start with a clean slate. This is a good time to kind of like prune a bunch of things that we really don't want to go down chasing unless it's actually truly necessary. So I would like lean on you to prioritize what is necessary at this point.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So yeah, okay. We don't have to do it on the call. I'll just go ahead and like kind of clear out the milestone. And then yeah, I'll leave the issues and we can, I guess, circle back. I did look at these briefly, but I kind of felt based on where I know Notary's at and the priorities that nothing really quite met, at least what I had in my mind, of what we needed for the beta. So
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So I would go to the beta milestone. I started putting in priorities in there. So like it just kind of, so go to the beta milestone view. No, actually the view in there. So if you click on the beta milestone tab, up, it's up. Yeah, to the left now. Yeah, there you go. To the right a little. Yep, right there. Yeah.
I see.
So those are all the ones that are marked for beta, that are open, that are marked for beta milestone. And then if you, here, actually, I'll just save this and it should refresh on your side. Maybe refresh your browser window. Yeah. So this, I just was kind of trying to like put priorities so that way we could kind of help know what's most important for what's to work on next here. So I put 200 just because I want to put the performance testing like after we have a little more things baked, at least the notation alpha 3 support. And so I'm just putting those all together, and obviously I have that one user story that pulls in all the sub ones beneath that. Let's see. So This one, so I'm looking at, let me look, number 46, and I'll bump that up here. Is it 46? Oh, your view is not. Oh yeah. Notary verification should fail if image has no signature, right? I think that's one that I don't see really getting fixed or really changing much even if we have the new alpha 3 bits in there.
Yeah, I think with Akasha's policy configuration, like we introduced a default policy, this should now fail. Is that right, Akash?
Yeah, I believe it should, but I haven't tested the scenario, so I can test this to make sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll just need like a triage.
Yeah, I just need to.
For that. Do you want me to assign that to you then, or you?
Yeah, if you want to just comment, just tag me or something. I'll try to verify that this is completed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just assigned it to you.
Okay.
David, just go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I was going to say this will have different behavior in pass-through as well, because it doesn't matter what you have configured. You're only going to get verify results from artifacts that exist. So if you wanted the default behavior, like in pass-through mode, essentially, this would still happen this way, but that's expected because the customer is in charge of configuring whatever checks they need to make via the constraint templates, just as a call out.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was going to add, David, for context, before we had a requirement for it's like any or like a notary type signature must exist and the value is any, but we changed the meaning of any to 1+. It used to be 0+.
Okay.
Just a bit of information there.
Okay. Okay.
Back to the milestone.
You go to the Ratify planning, yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I created another item to capture the certificate rotation scenario in Keyvote. Just want to check again if that is the scenario that we want to support. So today.
Yeah, I saw, I guess, yeah, that would, I'm just trying to think of what other, like, because we have the Key Vault integration, you're thinking of it being like something that triggers once the cert is changed, it somehow like lets Ratify know, because I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so today so the customer can configure their Key Vault name and certificate name in the deployment configuration for Ratify.
Yeah.
And once they rotate the certificate in the Key Vault, what is the Ratify behavior?
Yeah. So if we change that to use CRDs, then that whole code is going to be different, right?
Yeah. So are you thinking?
So yeah, I think that's less of a priority. I do think that it would be good to enable. And I kind of am like, we could add other things that may not make the cut. I think that would be one to consider for sure. But we do have quite a bit of work still here. So
yeah, just to clarify the CRDs, like previously we said the verifier would be a CRD, but we didn't really say if the keys will be a CRD. Are you thinking that we should make the validation certificate CRDs?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And then that being the mechanism where people can add, remove, and actually, that maps under the hood to whatever the other mechanisms is to pull down the certificates, right? So like, if you configure CRD, and CRD, you could say, what's like the location? You could say it's, Azure Key Vault, right? And then that would be the connection for it to know which certificates to use to download to the trust store.
I see. And the local validation certificates are not CRDs, but the key vault certificates will be.
Well, yeah, this all has to be flushed out in the doc, right? I mean, we don't have a design doc for it yet. So, but it was brought up obviously roughly in the dynamic configuration, right, as an option. And so we implemented the file-based one, which is good. But, you know, certain folks asked, right, for this in Kubernetes. And then today, right, if you want to update your certificates, you basically, well, again, there's multiple issues down below of in adding multiple certificates. And that's kind of that becomes kind of messy, right? When you're trying to jam stuff in through a Helm chart, redeploy, ratify, and add and remove certificates that way, right? So it gets kind of messy of an experience. So I think, I mean, I'm open to other ideas, but it seems clear to me like the CRD mapping to the certificates that, I mean, I think the V1 for beta in my mind is just the trusted certificates for the trust store. There is a trust policy being implemented in notation, but that's like not a beta thing. That's like more advanced. I think just getting that mapping for the certificates themselves in a CRD would be like a key goal. And then I think by sheer nature, some of the items that are about, you know, the ones down below there, investigate multiple certificates, verifier, and the Helm chart will naturally just kind of resolve themselves. Does that make sense? Because you would just, in the Helm chart, you would just specify any number of CRDs you want for your certificates. You could put that in the Helm chart or not. And then as long as Ratify is looking to the CRDs, you would then have a way to make that multiple certificates. You'd have a way to independently update the certificates without having to redeploy Ratify or redeploy the Helm chart. You could also scope that to a namespace, other things like that, right?
Yeah, I think making them CRDs would be the first step, and then we'll have to think about, do we reload the verifier, the notary verifier? Because today, when the plugin gets initialized, that's when we configure all the certificates at the, like there's like a root object. And even if the CRD gets reloaded, I think we'll have to reload the notation verifier inside the executor. But we'll do that later.
Right. So yeah, there's obviously a bit of design work and flushing of that out. But I think that's I feel like that's going to make the experience a lot better and manageable for folks. And then that ties back into the rotations, it ties back into the multiple certificates and the other issues that we have there. So yeah, that's why I put it as a 10. Again, this is all for good discussion. Yeah, the ORAS, if we go to the one that's not, let's see, the two there, 14, 15, those, as we know, we have other folks kind of like Lee and other folks in Kara kind of working on those. And then the 1.0 RC2 artifact spec, I know it shouldn't be a lot of work, but I would want to do that probably in parallel with the Alpha 3 support, because Alpha 3 support, I off the top of my head, I think it uses that, but I would do it after it. Or during if it needs to be, because those kind of somewhat go together. But yeah, I think those two, so maybe Alpha 3 support I put as, let's say 100, and then let's just say this is 101. And then the external data MTLS, that one's a little bit tricky because we obviously just had this pop up from the Gatekeeper 1.9, or sorry, 3.9, and we had to disable it, right? So it is at least for like production capacity, for security implications, you do want to have the external data store have the TLS certificate support. But I would put this one similar to the performance testing, where it's not as high of a priority right now because things are working for people to utilize it, and it's more of a like production readiness type of thing in my mind.
Got it.
So I don't know. I'll just put this one as like maybe a 190 because that does impact the performance. So you want to do it before the performance stuff. Yeah, and then certificate chaining is a dependency on the alpha 3. So I'll put this one as a 102. Let's link to that. And then the CRDs, I'll put those as a 11 and a 12 because there's really depends on that being done. And maybe I'll just put that in the notes so we don't just jump into it.
Yeah. Is there a way for GitHub these items to track the dependencies?
Yeah, there is. Actually, I did that with the user story that's there. So if you go to the item, let's see, well, you look at the one that has the user story label. Yeah, that actually shows you how to track it. So when you go to those issues, it will actually link to it above. So track, see how above it says tracked in 269?
Yep, I see. So this is how it comes up, like it just comes up as a mention?
Well, yeah, it comes up, yeah. So it comes up below in the mention and then it goes on the tracked up above, yeah. So what I'll do, just because we're kind of working on this now, what I would do is I would just, I'm just gonna modify the support CRDs as like reference. And I mean, I'm looking at Lee's issue, and his focus here is on the store and the verifier. My focus is like on the trusted certificates, which is different than what he has. So I don't know if we, I don't know if we just add that onto the list, but yeah. But definitely, I know that's more work as you add other things, but it's
yeah. We can have like child items. We need to break it down to multiple items.
Let me just like kind of take his edit here and then I'll put my name on this. So there's first a high level design doc that I think we should just agree on, because there's some of the things that you brought up that we need to just try and lock on before we just start coding on it. And then there's the actual implementation for, let's say, trusted certificates versus store versus verifier or whatever else, right? For the implementation work.
Yeah, well, think about the design. Maybe we should have a design and then implement as 2 items.
Yeah. Design document, and I'll do that right now. Design document, store.
Yeah, I can pick this up next, and I know Li Binbin has said he started on it in the past, so I'll sync up with him to see what is his status.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else have items to discuss? Yep. I guess I was just checking if Sajay have any item, but okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah. See everyone next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Mm.